With the name of Allah, the most merciful and most beneficent. I am Majidullah Khan, Assistant Professor, Institute of Business Studies, Guwahati University of Science and Technology, Guwahati. The subject is corporate governance and social responsibility, and today's topic is brief history of corporate governance. It's lecture 2 on brief history of corporate governance. Teaching agenda for today lecture is evolution of corporate governance, emergence of corporate governance model, international bodies providing guidance on corporate governance. Evolution of corporate governance. Corporate governance initiative. The world reaction to these corporate issues was vigorous to develop a laws and code for better corporate governance. So the first law that was promulgated in UK was Cadbury Report. In response to various financial scandal and collapse of BCCI, as discussed in earlier lecture, and mirror groups, and perceived general lack of confidence in financial reporting of many UK companies, the Financial Reporting Council and London Stock Exchange and other accountancy professions such as Institute of England and Wales established a committee on financial aspect of corporate governance in May 1991. It was chaired by Sir Adrian Cadbury and came out with its landmark report in December 1992, recommended a code of best practices with which the board of all listed companies should comply. It was followed by Greenbury Report 1995. Greenbury Committee was formed to look into the director remuneration. So the prime focus in this Greenbury Report is director remuneration and its salary packages and disclosure about in the annual report. There are three things: director remunerations, and it's two things. There are director remuneration and its disclosure in annual report. The principal recommendations should include in the report were about strengthening of director accountability and enhancing their performance, setting up a remuneration committee comprising of non-executive directors who would report to the shareholder, adoption of performance measures to which director remuneration may be linked, and making full disclosure of director remuneration in the annual report. Hempel Report 1998. The committee was set up in 1995 to study the impact of Cadbury and Greenbury Report. The report came out in 1998, establishing the director were responsible for relation with all stakeholders but accountable only to shareholders. It is also emphasized on the importance of the role of institutional investors in bringing about positive changes in the company's corporate governance policy. So the report was just, main point in the report was institutional investors in its role. Combined Code 1998. The report combined the recommendation of Cadbury Report, Greenbury Report and Hempel Report into one code. It has two sets of recommendations, one for the company and other for institutional investor. It promotes the principle of comply or explain for the director. It laid out emphasis on maintenance of good internal control covering all aspects of the company operation, reviewing the control system at least annually and informing shareholder about its efficacy. Turnbull Report in 1999, UK, chaired by Nigel Turnbull. This committee was set up by the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales to provide guidance to its members who prepare audit financial statement for the companies on implementation of internal control requirement of the combined code. So this committee just focus on how to implement the internal control requirement of the combined code of 1998. Blue Ribbon Committee of New York Stock Exchange, United States, 1999. Blue Ribbon Committee appointed by New York Stock Exchange and National Association of Security Dealers published its report in 1999 covering the performance and conduct of Corporate Audit Committee. So focus was Corporate Audit Committee. OECD, Organization of Economic Development and Cooperation. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development published its Principles of Corporate Governance in 1999. Before its issuance, the document was discussed with the government of member countries, private sector, and relevant international organizations like World Bank. It laid down principles covering the various aspects of corporate governance, recognizing that one model cannot apply or suit to all companies. The main principle explained by the documents issued by OECD Principle of Corporate Governance are: the right of the shareholder must be protected. All shareholders should be equitably treated. All stakeholders should be allowed to play their due role as provided in the law. Importance of timely and accurate disclosure to promote transparencies, accountability, and responsibility of the Board of Directors. Evolution of the corporate governance moved further. Basel Committee Guideline 1999. This committee issued its guideline in 1999 related to enhancing corporate governance in the banking companies. These have been influential in the development of corporate governance practices in banking across the world. Let's cover the following point. Sorry, these points are not shown in the slides, but I'm discussing it one by one. That board should have set strategic objective and corporate value should be established for each financial institution. Clear line of responsibility and accountability should be set and enforced. Board members should be suitably qualified, understand their role as director, and not be subject to undue influence from management or outside stakeholders. There should be appropriate level of oversight by and on senior management. The importance of the work by both internal and external auditor and internal checks. The compensation issues of the director, conduct of corporate governance in a transparent manner. National Association of Corporate Directors, Blue Ribbon Commissions of United States made National Association of Corporate Directors. This report covered the director professionalism and conduct. It was first issued in 1996 and revised in 2001. While it is legally mandatory, it has had significant impact on the performance of directors in the United States who are member of National Association of Corporate Directors. Manners Report. Manners report was issued by Her Majesty Treasury and concentrate on the institutional investment and the role they can play in promoting or sustaining shareholder activism. It requires the institutional investor to be more proactive, especially in the stance they take with underperforming companies. So Manners report focuses on the role of institutional investors. Chrome report 2002 in Germany. This report prepared by a committee headed by Dr. Erhard Chrome laid down a ground rule for corporate governance in Germany. It is a detailed document with a number of sections, each dealing with significant aspects of corporate governance, such as shareholder, members meeting, cooperation between different levels of board, transparency, financial reporting, and audit are discussed in Chrome report. Company Law Review in 2002 UK. Modern Law Review published in July 2002 contained outline proposal for extensive modernization of the company's law, including various aspects of corporate governance. These included statutory codification of director common law duties, enhanced company reporting, and audit requirement. Having a formal operational and financial review section in the annual report. Maintaining corporate website is mandatory for the company so that it can provide benefit to all stakeholders in disclosure relating to the voting. So company law required the company listed in the London Stock Exchange to maintain a website as well. Higgs report, Higgs Review 2003 UK, chaired by Derek Higg. The report dealt principally with the effectiveness of non-executive directors. So the focus of this report is on non-executive director role. Its recommendation includes stating the number of meetings of the board and its main committee in the annual report, together with the attendance record of all director and CEO. So point can be repeated as the number of meetings of the boards, committee for financial reporting, attendance of the director should be recorded. It also recommends separation of offices of chairman and CEO. It proposed certain restriction on executive director, like not being member of more than 2 of the board's committee. Smith Report 2003 UK. The report covered the role and importance of audit committee. It stated that while all directors have a duty to act in the interest of the company, the audit committee has a particular role acting independently from executive director to ensure that the interests of shareholders are properly protected in relation to the financial reporting and internal controls. So again, here is focuses on audit committee in its role, its independence from executive director. Moving further, revised combined code in 2003, published in 2003, incorporated the substance of Higgs and Smith reviews into the 1998 combined code. So it incorporated all the changes that are related to Higgs and Smith reviews. It stated that undue reliance should not be placed on any particular director. It also clarifies the role of company chairman and senior independent director. It provides for formal and rigorous annual evaluation of performance of the board and visual directors in board committee. So the focus is on the evaluation of the performance of board, individual director, and board committee. It recommended that at least half of the board members should be independent non-executive directors. Evolution of corporate governance. Code of Corporate Governance issued by Security and Exchange Commission of Pakistan in 2002, which was subsequently revised in 2005, and it is also revised in 2012. Marvin King Report 1994, 2004 and 2009 South Africa. This committee was led by eminent South African judge and economist Marvin King, has so far issued 3 reports called King 1, 1994, King 2, 2000, King 3, 2009. As of June 2010, company listed on South Africa JSE Security Exchange must comply with King 3. The King Code of Corporate Governance recommends that organizations produce an integrated report in place of annual financial report and sustainability report. Listed companies are required to produce an integrated report or explain why they are not. So both reports were combined in King 3, that is sustainability report of a listed company and annual financial report. Sarbanes-Oxley Act 2002, United States. The scandal of Enron, WorldCom, and Global Crossing strengthen the perception that the close relationship between director and external auditor is largely the cause of corporate wrongs and unnoticed to the extent that it become too late to save the company. These scandals led to the United States Congress passing the Sarbanes-Oxley Act in 2002, which introduces reforms in various areas of corporate management, as well as listing requirement for New York Stock Exchange. The most salient point of the corporate governance are it places considerable responsibility on CEO and CFO in relation to accuracy and completeness of company annual report. Second point, it strengthens independence of external auditors. Audit committee were required to have at least one financial expert who should be clearly named as such. They set up a new regulatory body called Public Company Accounting Oversight Board for auditor of United States listed firm. And last point is it led to Security and Exchange Commission of United States issuing rules placing restriction on audit firms accepting non-audit work from their client for whom they are external auditor. So the external auditor should not accept any special assignment from their client for whom they are statutory auditor. Emergence of corporate governance model. Corporate governance model refers to the way companies are financed and structured in an economy in terms of entrepreneurial and functional decision making. Over the past half century, there are three main models have emerged in the world. These are Anglo-American model, Japanese model, and German model. We will discuss the salient feature of American model. This model is based on free economy theory and operate essentially on the premise that the free interplay of the market forces set the prices for capital, as well as decided who gets to run the company. Companies in this model operate to maximize the wealth of shareholder who decided who to assign the responsibility of running the company. The director of the company do not necessarily own a big chunk of the company's share. Their election is independent on their efficiency, independent of their influence. These are elected on the basis of their efficiency and effectiveness to the company. The prime assurance of their efficiency is the rate of return unto the investor. Anglo-American model works on three trica, that is principal, watchdog, and agent. Principal are shareholder, management is agent, and board of director work is a watchdog to monitor the performance of the management. Under the Anglo-American model, most or huge amount of capital are provided by institutional investor. The company sponsor and managers generally own only small part of the total equity. That is roughly 25%. Company rely on the combination of equity and debt for their financial need. Higher level of debt is generally not considered to be a sign of the company's strength. The management tried to keep their values of the company's shares from its stock exchange through an attractive dividend policy, maintaining steady growth rate and dividend. The shareholder do not bother the board for as long as the interest, namely maximization of wealth through profit and improvement in share value, is being served. Now, Japanese model. Japanese companies most follow the Keiretsu system, which by definition means group of associated companies. There are interlocking directorate and shareholding in Japanese company. Typically, group has a number of companies, some operating in the same industry, other in different industry. So, for example, vertical Keiretsu, all companies in a group may be engaged in activity related to the same group of product, but at different level. On the other hand, horizontal Keiretsu companies and entities in a group may not engage in a similar, but in a diverse set of activities. The capital for these companies is provided by banks through equity and debt. So banks are also part of the group, performing the task of managing fund for the group through their deposit. Some of the better known Keiretsu groups in Japan are Mitsubishi, Mitsui, Sumitomo, DKB, Toyota, Toki, and IBJ. The governance structure of the company in Keiretsu is characterized by the group consideration. The bank providing the equity and debt also play a dominant role in selecting the board of directors for their group of companies. Their hold on the board is quite firm and they are therefore able to influence decision making process of the group of companies according to the group of interest. If the company gets into financial or other difficulties, the group bails it out through prompt injection of further equity or debt. In order to sustain the equity of the governance, the group seeks and appoint good professionals as non-executive director of the group of company. The level of interaction between the funding bank and the board of directors is more frequent. Salient feature of German model. Quite like Japanese model, institutional investors include both private and public sector banks play a very important role in German companies and other corporate governance model. The board of German companies have significant number of nominees from financial institutions who apparently represent not only their parent bodies but also look after interest of all stakeholders. Perhaps the most apparent differences in German model lies in the composition of the board of directors. In German, companies are required to have two-tier board by law. The lower tier board is called management board, comprises entirely of executive director. The upper tier is non-executive supervisory board having compulsory representation from institutional investor and employees. No one can serve at both tier of the board. However, the supervisory board can summon member of lower tier for clarification of any matter concerned to them. The size of the supervisory segment of the board is set by law and cannot be changed by shareholder in resolution in annual general meeting. The law is also assigned the pattern of casting voting right to supervisory board regardless of the company's ownership structure. In this way, the supervisory board is in better position to exert its influence and gets its policies implemented by lower executive tier. The proportion of individuals companies to have much higher debt to equity level. The proportion of individual ownership of shares in German company is relatively lower than US or British companies. Moving further, international body providing guidance on corporate governance. Large number of governmental and non-governmental agencies have emerged over the past 20 years to provide guidance to all those who are concerned with the companies, their management and their governance. So we will discuss one by one. The World Bank and International Monetary Fund. The World Bank utilizes the OECD principle to prepare formal corporate governance assessment of each country and gets involved with it. They may influence the level of aid and assistance World Bank or IMF may be willing to provide to the country for improvement in its corporate governance environment. In Pakistan, IMF has helped set up Institute of Corporate Governance that is working with government professionals body like ICAP and universities and stock exchanges for the development of the field of corporate governance. In addition, IMF produces a report on the observation of standard and code which summarizes the extent to which the countries is observed internationally recognized standards and codes. The report includes section on the corporate governance, accounting and auditing. The most recent report issued in Pakistan which outlined the needs to improve the area of corporate governance in Pakistan. The Global Corporate Governance Forum. This forum, Global Corporate Governance Forum, is a basic organization of corporate governance cooperation between OECD and World Bank. It is the international initiative aimed at bringing together leading groups in governance, including banks, organizations, country groupings, and private sector in governance, including banks, organization, country, and professional standard setting bodies. It provides assistance to developing transition economies like Pakistan on corporate governance. There are three main functions of Global Corporate Governance Forum. To broaden the dialogue on corporate governance, to exchange experience and good practices, to coordinate activities and fill the gap in provision of technical assistance. International Corporate Governance Network. The International Corporate Governance Network was set up in 1995 with a membership comprising of major institutional investing group, financial institution, academic, and other with an interest in improving the global corporate governance practices. Its principal objective is to promote international dialogue on corporate governance issues. In 1999, it issued a statement on global corporate governance principles, which principally gave its position on OECD principle, which it declared is the minimum acceptable standard for companies and investors around the world. Commission on Public Trust and Private Enterprises. This commission was set up by the Conference Board, an influential US-based non-profit organization, to look at the circumstances which gave rise to corporate scandal resulting in loss of public confidence in the United States stock market. Its work is focused on three main areas: director compensation, corporate governance, and accounting and auditing. It has issued some report and guideline on these important areas. Corporate governance issues in Pakistan and the West. It is important to understand the difference in corporate governance perspective of companies in the West and those in the Pakistan. The West are developed economies. Companies are generally run by minority shareholders. The directors that run the company do not own more than 20 to 30% of the company paid up share. These directors use all the resources of the companies, take all the decision about the operations and the company and investment of its fund, and often pay themselves huge remuneration, which directly reduces the profit available to distribution among shareholders. There have been several examples in corporate history where director remuneration and bonuses have consumed more than half of the company's operating profit. Hence, corporate governance in Western countries is on regulating the conduct of director to protect the interest of shareholder. All earlier literature on corporate governance in developing countries was directed at saving the shareholder from the greed of director. The awareness that the stakeholders also need to be protected from such unrepresentative board came very much later in time. In Pakistan, there is concentrated ownerships and family or close group who own more than 50% of the company's paid up shares elect the board. This gives them the power to elect majority of its director. Elected directors are either part of the controlling family or employees of the controlling family. In both cases, their absolute loyalty lies with the controlling group and not to the company or its other stakeholder. Again, these directors are generally not paid such high salaries or perks as to raise alarm at its annual general meeting. If these directors are part part of controlling family, they are given benefit in through back doors for their services. If they are just paid employees, they never consider worthy, and they are paid on the basis of market-based salary. So remuneration of director is not issued in Pakistan or other developing country because family hold majority of the shareholder. So the focus should be in corporate governance and control as shareholder who dominate the board to ensure that they do not just serve their own purpose alone. The objective here is to devise ways and means, making the controlling group pay due attention to the interest of the minority shareholder and other stakeholder. This is the main difference between corporate governance perspective in Pakistan and the West. This is all about today lecture. See you in a coming lecture. Thank you.